Okay, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Nicole Bowles. And I'd just like to introduce Nicole. Chris tells me that Nicole is a mum on a mission to try to break the silence surrounding all child loss. Nicole set up a charity, Our Missing Piece, as a signpost service to make finding support for bereaved parents simpler. So I'd just like to welcome and introduce Nicole. Thank you.
Hi. Oh, this is fancy, isn't it?
You can either hold that or it clips on there. And then that will just go through.
Okay. Thanking you. You're allowed to laugh, don't worry. It's not all serious, all doom and gloom. I know it's a hard topic today. I am here with a little bit of a different story, and my aim for today is to try and help change your perception of the people that you're going to be coming into contact with. I want you to be open-minded throughout all of this, and just let me take you on a journey. So, what do you see in this picture? This is obviously me, and my amazing family, and my husband, who is very hairy. They look really happy, apart from obviously Toby, who, you know, but if you meet Toby, he's exactly like that. He's like, no, I'm not having any of this, thanks. 3 beautiful boys. It looks like a very complete family. And Smiley, apart from Toby. Let me tell a little bit about the family. Me and Dan, childhood sweethearts, met at school. He was in a German lesson when I was 16. Just the only words that he knew were "Ich bin müde," which is "I am tired." And it was one of the only GCSEs he didn't complete. And we bonded over rugby, and we have been together ever since, on and off. We went to university, spent a lot of time trying not to get pregnant, and we were very careful about that. We graduated uni. Surprisingly, I've got a drama degree. 2-1, thank you very much. I'm in a lot of debt for that, and I don't plan on paying it back. We then did the obligatory move in together. After 8 years of being together, I made him put a ring on it. He was going into the military, and I was like, I ain't doing that without this. And so we did, and we went in. He joined the military. I became somebody bumbling around in life, just waiting to be a mum. That was like I met him at 16, and I thought, he's hairy, he's tall, I want his children. I find him incredibly attractive, thankfully, and still do now. Military and him being away a lot helps that. So we were married at 23, and we decided at 24, come on, let's release the swimmers and try this. And we were really fortunate. We fell pregnant first time, and I cannot tell you, you do the obligatory, I'm going to do the pregnancy test while he was working away. So we'd gone to a special hotel in Exeter and peed on a stick, and that little pink line changed our world. We were so excited. We'd waited so long for that, and like the right time, and we'd done it the right way, and I didn't eat pate for stars that evening. I didn't have runny eggs. I was like, we're gonna have to move, because the house we're living in at the moment freezes on the inside of the windows in the winter. I'm like, I'm not quite sure a baby's gonna like that. And then it gets to 8 weeks, and I start bleeding. It is the day before Valentine's Day, And he's down south in Dartmouth and I'm up in the Lake District. And I go, shit, what do I do? Like, maybe this is normal, everything's going to be okay. Rang family. I was at work at the time and ran into these older ladies that are there who knew I was pregnant and were very excited because we just got married and they'd been at the wedding and it was all new life and everything. I was like, I'm bleeding, what do I do? And it was when I spoke to my mum, she was like, ring the maternity department. I'd already got my notes. We were very like, I wanted this baby. And I was like, I'm getting my notes. I am a pregnant person. And so when I rang the maternity department, the midwife on the end of the phone basically said, what do you want me to do about it? You're only 8 weeks. And I was like, well, I don't know. You're the expert. You tell me. And she said, come in and have a scan and we'll take it from there. We came in. Now, go back to the military thing. My husband's only home at certain times of the year. So I knew exactly how far along I was. I was 6 weeks. I was 8 weeks. And I went in and the sack was 6 weeks. And she was like, right, you're going to have to come back 2 weeks' time for a scan to see if there's any development. At which point I then go, oh, right, okay, but I know it's not where it should be. And she went, well, tough, come back. So I then proceeded to drive down with my sister to Dartmouth to go and pick Dan up. We went and met my mum, who is an amazing lady, very English, very stoic, and she just went, please don't cry, and then I proceeded to cry. And she was like, oh, well, it's okay if you're going to... And she just didn't know what to do with me. Meanwhile, my sister, who is with me, is pregnant with my niece. And so we're on this, like, none of us know what to do. The experts have told us, come back in 2 weeks and see if it matters. And then I leave my mum and my sister to drive down to Dartmouth. If any of you know where Dartmouth is, it's the arse end of nowhere. And what normally was a 4-hour drive took me 7 hours because I got stuck on a motorway where there was a lorry fire and we'd been cut off. And I was sat in a car by myself contracting, and I don't say that lightly. I've gone on to have more children. It was intense, and I was crying and I was cramping and I couldn't move. I got down to Dan, I cried, I shouted at him because it had taken so long and it was his fault, obviously, that this lorry had had this fire. And meanwhile he's looking at me and I'm completely forgetting that's his baby that I'm losing, and he's a dad and he's losing this as well. So we go back up north and I go get the scan, and unfortunately I'd carried on bleeding and I knew that I'd miscarried. In fact, I'd seen the little sac, so I knew that I'd miscarried. And I went over to my sister's with Dan and I said to Dan, I need to name it. I need to just give her a name. I had no idea whether it was a boy or a girl, but I needed to just give her something tangible. She's called Lucy, because that would have been our girl's name. Me and Dad, we've been together since we were little. We've got children's names already planned. I am an organiser. So Lucy was her name. I gave her her name. Dan lost it. He just cried. His emotions came out. I don't say all this to you because I need you to hear it. What I need you to hear is that parents will go through this after that phone call. As midwives, you will be receiving those phone calls of I'm bleeding. What do I do? And this is the next stage when you hang up. So I throw the maternity notes in the bin unceremoniously, really fucked off with them. Like, you weren't what you promised, and there you go. And now, forever, pregnancy to me is no longer safe. It means I can lose it. That future that I had planned for, that I'd hoped for, that I dreamed of, waited for, anticipated, was gone. We were very lucky we've gone on to have more children, as I said. But how can you help the unpreventable? They're calling to you, frightened, they're concerned, they're scared, they're looking for reassurance. You can't give them that reassurance. If a miscarriage is going to happen, it's going to happen. That's not your role. You're not there to tell them that it's going to be okay. What you are there to do is acknowledge these feelings that they're feeling and just give them a little bit of compassion. Just talk to them and just be like, I'm here for you if you need to ring back. That's all it is. They won't ring back because they feel like they're a massive inconvenience. They won't. Or if they do, that's because they need that little bit of reassurance that you're still there and you meant what you said. They will be coming in for a scan surrounded by excited pregnant people. Now, Manchester Clinic do, and I know a lot of clinics at hospitals are trying to make it so that they do clinics separately, and they put people who are known to be coming in with difficulties, complications, miscarriages, they put them in a separate room so you don't... that didn't happen for me, and I felt really bad for the people there, really happy, because I was not happy, and it was very obvious that I was not happy. When you're giving that scan, or you're around for the scan, or afterwards, just remember that they've lost a future that they've been planning for. And as much as it's hard for you to deliver the news and being around that, it's okay to be around that. And you being there validates their process. It validates their experience. One of the things Michelle's just talked about, find out what resources your hospital has. Find out if they do remembrance services. We were offered a book that we could put Lucy's name in at the hospital. I never took it up, but the fact that it was there really helped me. It meant that I had a place if I needed to. And find out what charities are available. Now, in the West Midlands, you guys have the Pinks and Blues, and that is for the first and second trimester pregnancy loss. They run support groups, they run one-to-one support, and these are here. You can send people that way. Again, people might not need it. Nationally, there's the Miscarriage Association, and also Tommy's. Tommy's are doing work into preventing miscarriages and all of this, which is incredible. But as I say, I'm here as the unpreventable. I'm that 1 in 4 women suffer pregnancy loss. So every time you meet a new family, just be thinking of what their backstory is. Just offer them kindness, respect, and give them knowledge as to what might happen next. Because at no point was I told that I might see a sack. At no point was I told... I've also, speaking to people, I've had one lady tell me that you can't take ibuprofen and painkillers because it's damaging for the baby who's just been told heartbeat had stopped. But you never know, because in 2 weeks it might grow. I know there's a very balanced way that you have to portray things, and it has to be, because I've also had people be told that they've miscarried and they didn't. So there is a fine line between all of that, but just try and inform them that look after yourself. Give them a hug if you need to. Like, I'm a hugger, I would have appreciated it. But my story doesn't end there. We went on to have Alistair. We then went on to have another miscarriage. That, again, lack of concern. I didn't even report that one to the hospital because I knew that I would get the phone call, well, what do you want me to do about it? We then went on to have Ben, who was slightly bigger than his brother because Alistair was born at 36 weeks. I had preeclampsia. And he was £5.13, which for 36 weeks I think is quite good. And then Ben was £8. So tore more with the little one, to be fair. But we then have had Toby. who, they've all had really good hair, so I had heartburn. And then we've gone on to have Edward, who, yeah, Ed. Every time that I got a positive pregnancy test, I never thought that this would happen. I never thought that I would get my babies. All of the miscarriages have not only affected me, but they've had a massive effect on Dan. When Alistair was born, he refused to engage with the pregnancy. He refused that until that baby was in his arms, it wasn't happening. And so what's the point? So these families that are coming in, this is their backstory. This is what they're dealing with. You've got a dad who doesn't want to talk. Well, why is that? Question it. And if there's there on their notes that they've got a miscarriage, it's not you that they're being like a bit off with or they're nervous with. That's their reality is, where's the heartbeat? Every single time I've had a scan, where's the heartbeat? That is the reassurance that I need if it's going to happen. I've had 7 pregnancies, 4 beautiful boys. Now look at this. Look at the photo. What do you see? There's only 3 boys. It's not a complete family photo anymore. Who's missing? Why is the bunny there? Remember, open mind. Families are nothing. Pictures are nothing. Families everything. Ben, our second beautiful boy, we got to take him home. He got to meet his elder brother, Alistair. We got to read him bedtime stories. We got to see his beautiful eyes. He's got the quirkiest little smile that goes up from one corner to the other. He met his cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents, and we were able to make memories with him. Sorry. We moved up to Scotland to be near the military base. And we had the quintessential perfect family, and the miscarriages were put behind us. This is the last photo ever taken of Ben. Unfortunately, I think it was 2 days after this photo, we'd had friends up, and the novelty, you can see Alistair in the corner slouching out on the couch. Told you about the smile. I went to a mother and toddler group, and unfortunately on the way home there was an accident in his pram. I'd put him underneath the pram, you know, the wonderful contraptions that keep them safe. Alistair was sat on the top of the pram, Ben was on the underneath of the pram, filled it up with shopping and put the chicken on the hood for tea to go home with and make chicken tonight. Never eaten it since. I've eaten chicken, just not the sauce. And he, at some point on the way home, it was raining, the cover on the pram didn't allow me to see that the chicken had fallen through and landed on Ben's face, which meant that when I pulled him out of the pram, he was not breathing. I had to remove the bag. I gave him CPR, and luckily my friend who was with me went and got help. We got ambulance. We brought him back. He was pink again. And the ambulance very kindly and amazingly took him off, and I will be forever grateful for the NHS and for everything that you guys are doing, because that gave us another 4 hours with Ben, with me and his dad. We unfortunately had to make the decision to stop life support because he was too brain damaged. He'd been without oxygen too long. But this beautiful little boy took his last breaths in my arms with his daddy in exactly the same way he was born. Now, why am I telling you guys all of this? Because I had his 2 little brothers afterwards. I had Toby and Ed afterwards. And you guys have to deal with me. You guys have to deal with a mum who not only does not expect her pregnancy to go any further, but then is petrified about taking her child home. Now, Jess is going to do an amazing job with pregnancy after loss. My job here is to change your perceptions of what the family is that you're dealing with and how you can help them. Because that's an amazing thing that you guys can do, is you can help families like mine. I'm not your average tale. I was told by a doctor, oh, well, it doesn't matter about you talking at this conference because we couldn't have saved Ben because he died in an accident. So it doesn't matter. I'm constantly told it doesn't matter. But I'm sorry, he matters and I matter, my family matters. And that's what I'm trying to do now, is trying to help people and medical professionals and society as a whole to try and change their perceptions of what baby loss and child loss and families look like. So, I don't want to leave you feeling shit. I want to give you tools and how can you help the unpreventable. I never want to hear any of you say, oh, well, we couldn't have done anything. There's always something that you can do, because you guys have the power to change a family's journey by acknowledgement, by giving them resources, by educating yourself about what's out there. How you treat someone and a family. And I say family because dads are 50% of everything that is to do with all of this. And they don't get heard a lot. I mean, Chris is going to do an amazing job later and talk about Henry. But Dan has only ever met 2 other dads. And Chris is one of them. He doesn't have that support system. So acknowledging that he might be struggling with something, and why is it that he's in the labour room and he's backed off and doesn't know what to do and he's stood like a scared rabbit even though he's had 3 other children. Just think about it, yeah? As I've said before, and I will hammer it home, educate yourself on what resources are available, what charities are in your area. Child Bereavement UK, if you don't know anywhere else to go, Child Bereavement UK will help any family. They'll also help siblings as well. Read notes, even if it is just briefly whilst you're looking there. Highlight that there's been a deceased child in the family, acknowledge miscarriages. Whatever gestation, there's a big debate at the moment about the 24 weeks miscarriage cut off. I know Amanda Holden made a very untactful statement on This Morning the other day about how she didn't have a miscarriage, she had a stillbirth. I'm like, tell that to somebody who... I'm looking at Steph, because Steph did an amazing job on BBC News and got acknowledged that birth before 24 weeks is just as important. I was so cross. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, look at their notes. Read them. Acknowledge them. Ask if they gave them a name. Ask them. My 2 other miscarriages are Chloe and Sophie, because I don't think I can carry girls. And it was what I felt at the time. It's amazing how much just that can make a difference to a conversation that you're having with a family. Some people don't want their miscarriages acknowledged, and I get that, and I'm not saying that that's how you should treat every family. As Michelle said, it's read the situation, read the family. Look for stickers, because I guarantee you now, if a family's had a stillbirth, or if they've had twins and there's been a neonatal death, or they will sticker the shit out of their notes. They will want you to know that this has happened to them, and please be careful with me, be gentle. Unfortunately, I didn't get a sticker because Ben died in an accident, and I've had charities tell me, well, Ben didn't die of cot death, Ben didn't die of SIDS, like, what do you want me to do? So I didn't get a sticker. but I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you. Because Ben didn't die of a medical condition, so why do you need to know that? Why do you need to know that I had a son that died? Because it affects everything that you do and how you treat me. It affects everything that you do and how you treat my husband. It affects the birthing partners that are in the room. I had a doula for Toby because I was petrified. And I didn't for Ed because I thought I knew what I was doing fourth time round. I'm an idiot because Dan knew what he was doing, I did not. And I refused to listen to him because I know best. Focus on the families and not the cause of death. Sadly, a lot of stillbirths are preventable. You can use that as how to help prevent them. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are accidental, like true knots and things like this. But there's a lot of causes that aren't going to help give you any medical practice to moving forward. So focus on the families, not the cause of death, and you will gain their respect and compassion straight away. I just want to, before my last slide, last two because I like to drag things out. A bereaved family's reality is shifted. They know children can die, and being pregnant again is them putting their hearts on the line. Respect it. So, how to help those who don't fit the box? That's little old me. Well, because I didn't have a box, I created one. And I run a charity now, Our Missing Peace. And I've on purpose spelt it this way. It's not like a fluke. I didn't, because nothing has ever been the same from having my first miscarriage. I never expected to have a family the moment that first miscarriage happened. And then, Ben, he's an arse, isn't he? Dying. I'm allowed to joke about him because he had reflux. He was a particularly difficult baby, and I remember saying, as I'm holding him in a papoose, washing dishes, going, "You're fucking milking this, mate." Like, come on. I apologise for the swearing, but I'm married to a sailor. It's like second nature. When I was told one too many times no, and I've been told it in several different resources. I've had my 4 births were in 4 different hospitals because of the military connection, and every single time I've been given different resources, different help, different access, and it was only when the Scottish Cot Death Trust, because Ben died in Scotland, very kindly took me under their wing, that we were given support. We were given an apnea monitor for Toby. If you've not heard of an apnea monitor, it's a little sensor that you can put on their tummy, stick it down, and it just clicks every time that they breathe. And it's a reassurance for a family, especially if they've had a cot death. It's a resource that is out there. The Lullaby Trust will provide it in England, Scottish Cot Death Trust. I'm not going to presume that you're all going to stay in Birmingham. That's just not. So get to know what's available. When I moved down to London, that resource was denied to me when I had Edward, which massively affected my mental health. I had postnatal depression after I had Alistair. I was starting with it with Ben, but then he died, and then I've been grieving ever since. So he died 6 years ago this November. So I created this. What this is a massive tool for you guys. It is a signposting service for resources out there. My website has links to national charities, England charities, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. When you look at them, you'll sadly see that they are very lacking for bereaved parents. Bereaved parents are left in a hole by themselves a lot of the time, and the leaflets and stuff that get given are an amazing resource. I got my leaflets at the funeral home, and they've gone in Ben's box, and I've never looked at them again because I can't read the same now. I've not completed a book in 6 years because that's special. And so things like this, there's a list of bloggers, there's social media, there's lots of different outlets on there that you can use, you can research, you can educate yourselves, all of this. My biggest thing is there is a name for a bereaved parent, and as a society we get told that it's too big a loss to even have a name ever. But what that does is go, sorry, you're not allowed in here anymore, you don't even get a name. So when they leave the maternity ward with their empty arms and a box in their arms, are they a parent? Are they not? Yes, they are. They are a parent. They can still celebrate Mother's Day, Father's Day. I'm still Ben's mum. Dan is still Ben's dad. He is still Alistair, Toby and Edward's brother. He is my niece's cousin. And he is remembered daily in our family. I am a Villama. I don't like the word. I never want to be called it because I'd rather my son didn't die. But if this word means that people who haven't lost understand it a little bit more and go, actually, there is a name for this. This is a part of our society, and this matters and this counts and we count. Then that word, I will be singing it from the rooftops, and I am. I've got it. There's a petition for it to get into the dictionary. It's not in the dictionary. It comes from the language of Sanskrit, and it means against the natural order. The word widow means lonely and empty, and that comes from Sanskrit. This is I've not just made it up. I didn't just go, that sounds pretty, I'll go for that. So it is an actual thing, there's research into it. Final one. Oh, that's too far. What do you see? Is that the same family that you saw at the beginning of the presentation? Do you see the incomplete family? Do you see the little purple hearts that they're all wearing? Do you see the bunny that is Ben's teddy? I want to tell you why this photo was taken. This photo was taken for a press release for Our Missing Piece. So as well as we're all sad and it's shit that Ben died, it is, and I will say that every single time because there's no word being invented for that. But this family is a family of fighters. They are a family who love and adore their brother who isn't here and their son who isn't here, and we will sing his name from the rooftops. So next time you get a family come in and you don't know what their backstory is, read the notes. Thank you.